last week, I don't know if I mentioned, but I was supposed to die a week. I'm not one who likes to over dramatize things.
Did it change a lot? I mean, obviously you said God got a
My perspective.
yeah, your perspective and like everything.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everything's a bonus now. Every minute is a bonus. And it's strange to just be in the living room and look around the house and think it's all borrowed.
Yeah.
And I'd always thought of it as it was all temporary.
Yeah.
And then I discovered last week, no, I'm temporary.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for being here, Howard.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
this has been forever trying to get made.
Yeah. All right.
We rescheduled. We did one.
I'm like doing a business.
Yeah,
Just
that's right.
Pivoting and gets better.
That's right. Well, I mean, one of the things I kind of wanted to talk to you about, just selfishly, was we're doing a tacos event together.
Yeah.
And we're doing finding your mission.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think? I don't know why they picked me. I got a call from Paul one day, and I was like, I don't know. But like, what do you think? Because you got a lot going on. Not only do you have Bank Hunter, which we'll inevitably talk about for sure, but you've got your nonprofit arm that goes along with that with Carolyn Williams.
Yeah. And a clothing company that we're about to launch that fits in perfectly with a boxing gym.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. So tell me more about give me a little sneak peek. What was finding your mission all about?
For me, it was unexpected. I think it was trying to force something out per the business that would go with the business, that would, kind of describe maybe why I would get up in the morning and do it. And my wife, and as far as Bank Hunter goes, we're partners in that. So, but I think it's been a much longer process than that. And I think we've talked a little bit before. After we moved here, a little over 2 years ago, I would say I came here kind of with an overriding cynicism. I could cheerlead myself into action, but I was not really from a positive background, and I think I projected it more than I felt it.
Uh-huh.
And when I came here, I started kind of unwittingly collecting different things that people were saying around me in the tech community, at meetups, conferences, hearing people talk about their greatest experience and legacy is what they can give back, the relationships they make. I'll kind of attribute those to specific people like Nate Randall, we were just talking about, Davis Smith, Paul Ahlstrom, Gail Miller, Lisa Eccles, just numerous people. Carolyn, in the first 5 minutes we're on the phone, and then I presented the nonprofit idea to her, and I said, I've got to do this. It's a compulsion. And she said, I'm in. And as we're talking, somehow she said, I grew up in a household where it wasn't glass half empty or glass half full. It was just be thankful that you have a glass. And that was just another tidbit, like the other people that I'd mentioned, like Toby Erickson, like just a lot of people that I've met that have really, I would say, brought a lot of love, a lot of generosity, charity to all of their interactions. And it really shifted my view of what I was doing and the purpose of it and what I wanted to bring to people and for my wife as well. And it also was just, I would say, highly impacted by the culture and the community here in Utah, by my neighbors, by the people in my ward, by everybody I encountered, even at the FedEx store or at the grocery store line. It was just remarkable. People care here. They really care about each other. And they have the time. They want to take time to get to know you. And so that's was the gradual kind of evolution of me finding my mission. As I said, I had to move to Utah and find a mission or find 3.
Yeah.
But it really solidified, strangely enough. Last week, I don't know if I mentioned, but I was supposed to die a week ago.
Oh yeah, that's dude. You were going to tell me about this. Yeah, tell me about this story.
So, it was crazy. Still is. Last Wednesday, my wife came home. She was home for a few minutes, and we were talking, and all of a sudden, she just started shouting at me, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Okay?" And I'm thinking, I'm fine. Be quiet. But I'm not saying anything.
Oh.
I couldn't talk. And then I started drooling. And then she said I was doing this, flopping my hands at her.
Whoa.
And then this hand just went limp. I couldn't move. And she called 911. And they came in 3 minutes and got me to the hospital, just sticking IVs and all, running tests. And they gave me a clot buster because they knew I was having a stroke.
Whoa.
And I didn't.
Yeah.
And the doctor said, we got to get him up to the specialist in Salt Lake and get rid of the clots up in my head here, or it's going to be fatal.
Yeah.
And, my wife was like, so do I drive him up there, or are you talking about now, tomorrow morning? What? He said he's getting on a helicopter right now.
Oh,
So put in a helicopter.
dude, that's insane.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was on the helicopter and just kind of looking out in the window at, I think it was about 9:30, 10 at night. I don't remember. But it was dark and just kind of looking at the Salt Lake Valley. And after what the doctor said, I was thinking, I'm going to take it all in because I just wasn't sure I was coming home. And it was really hard for my wife to see the helicopter take off, and she had to drive up to Salt Lake. And they just rushed me into surgery and started prepping. And I told them I had to go to the bathroom. They said, just go because we're not stopping. And and they fished a line up through me and found the clot. And then the scan came up, and the doctor said, there's no blood on the left side of your brain. It's completely blocked off. And so he took the clot out and then took 4 more out. And he said, I don't know how you're not at least in a coma or dead, because you're sitting, you're laying here talking to me. It's just not medically possible. And then subsequently, over the next few days in the hospital, I just kept hearing from the stroke doctor, from the cardiologist, from the internist. Like, we've never seen anybody have a stroke. And then an hour later, get out of bed and go to the bathroom by themselves and talk normally. And
yeah, no kidding.
No sign on the scan that you even had a stroke. I'm like a tiny bit. So I got very, very lucky. And
yeah, you just had it at the right time.
Well, they figured out the next day they were going to send me home, and they wanted to do MRI, make sure I didn't have any more clots. They came to pick me up, and my heart rate was double what it normally is.
Yeah.
I said, that's the problem. It's AFib, they call it.
Yep. So, my dad went through something similar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He went through something similar.
Yeah. So they explained it, that top and the bottom of the heart aren't beating together when in AFib, and you can form clots and then shoot them around your body.
Yep.
So that's what happened.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me like you slipped on ice or
That's my usual story.
Like I almost died. Like I almost died. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Like it's
like I just brought something home that my wife didn't like, almost died kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you actually,
Bill.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
You almost died.
I'm not one who likes to over dramatize things, but I keep hearing it from doctor after nurse, and they're like, I don't know how you're even alive.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. I mean, I don't want to like take this podcast a turn for the worse, but like I remember one of the most sobering things that ever happened to me in my life. There's been a lot, but I think there were top two. Obviously, my dad went through something really similar and had clots in his leg and stuff. And but the other one was we were at work and we were going through some training at a dealership, and it was the most surreal thing I've ever experienced because we were in class. They said, "Okay, break. We're gonna go to the restroom. Take a quick 15." And about 20 minutes in, we're like, where's this guy? And a girl outside heard something in the bathroom, like someone fall. And so she ran into the men's bathroom, and it was crazy. 10 minutes, he's there talking to us, laughing. We're making jokes. Yeah. 10 minutes later, that's it. Like dead before he hit the ground.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine. I don't know.
I still don't comprehend it.
Yeah.
I'm still going to therapy. I'd be like, I go to therapy for a lot of more reasons, but like that was like one of the most.
I'm still unresolved.
It's just I can't wrap my head how that happened so quick because it was something you only read about in a book or like you hear about in a motivational speech. Like you can leave right now, but like
exactly. Yeah, it seems like motivationally conceptual, and you can go at any time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know.
But do you though?
I found out.
But do you though? Yeah, dude, that's crazy. So
I found out.
So when you talk about finding your mission, you were kind of talking about that. You had the event before this, right? You had scheduled the event to speak on finding your mission before that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on the way home from the hospital, it solidified where I realized, we're here as a companies, to empower others to live a self-driven life, and everything that I'm doing is under that umbrella. Mm-hmm. And that's just what came together on the way home from the hospital, and really being a force for empowering people and elevating them, and I think getting them to relate as powerfully as possible to their own capabilities and generosity. Mm-hmm. And so that, I think that it came out of what, was kind of a gradual step of collecting these bits from people and finding myself in a place of real gratitude. And then another level when this happened last week.
Yeah, that blows my mind too, bro. A week? Yeah. Most people aren't out of the hospital in a week.
I know.
When you have like my dad was in the hospital for 3 months and he didn't get to stroke level, but he had those blood clots ran to his leg and his intestines and his brain
head too.
And he was in the hospital for And I'm not trying to say anything, and maybe I am adding to it, but like, it was my dad. Like I was there. We were there for.
No, I walked around the floor when I was there, and my neighbors on the hospital floor were not getting out of bed.
Yeah.
And they couldn't talk.
Yeah.
So
I've been in that floor.
Yeah.
In up at the U.
I was at St. Mark's.
You were at yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like just sitting there talking with a stroke doctor, a cardiologist, and the guy's like, I've never seen this in my career.
Yeah.
Somebody just have a stroke.
So how do you make sense of that when you go home? Are you still processing it? Like, are you still?
God got a lot bigger,
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I can look for earthly evidence. Sure. The doctors couldn't find it. And so I just.
But I mean, like for you, did it change a lot? I mean, obviously you said God got
my perspective.
Your perspective and like everything.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everything's a bonus now. Every minute is a bonus.
That's incredible.
Every minute I get is bonus time. And so it was strange even driving home. It just all felt new.
Yeah.
When I got home, it felt new. And it's strange to just be in the living room and look around the house and think it's all borrowed.
Yeah.
You know? And I'd always thought of it as it was all temporary.
Yeah.
And then I discovered last week, no, I'm temporary.
Oh my God.
I'll be here after I'm gone. My stereo will be there after I'm gone.
Yeah.
You know, so will the countertops and the house.
Whoa, man, that's tripping me out right now. Like that's not temporary. I'm temporary. Mm-hmm. That's trippy, man.
Yeah.
Good thing I'm not on any like gummies right now, dude.
Yeah, take a break.
No, but I'm saying that's trippy. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah. It's strange. It's almost like the observations come and inform me more so than before. Mm-hmm. And I'm not thinking as much. It's just, I just notice more things, and my perspective definitely changed because, you know, when 5 doctors tell you should have died,
or at least you should be in the hospital for another, you know what I mean?
Coma or something.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Or you shouldn't be able to talk or use your right side of your body or get out of bed.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, strokes are not, it's not a game.
They really don't leave you with no damage.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, that's true.
Just heavy hitters. And the question is just to what extent, you know, will you be able to walk again? And
it's kind of like not if, when kind of thing.
Yeah. And
I mean, generally, I mean, my dad moved in with me. Like,
oh, really?
So yeah, I'm taking care of him.
Okay. How's he doing?
He's doing good.
Well,
no, he's doing a lot better now. You know what I mean? But it's like wild to think like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, we were a week after everything was done with him, we were not having podcasts. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's incredible. Like, that's all I mean with all of this is like, it's wild. It's really cool. Cause then you realize like, you know, that's, I guess, I mean, cause you kind of already had the first time we did this podcast that didn't end up recording very well. You had a great story, a great mission, right?
I felt like that.
But now you're like, now has that even elevated, right? Have you changed some of your mind about the future of things?
It's just deepened. Mm-hmm. You know, I would say I've found more of a purpose and reason, but the payoff in each case, whether it's each business or each relationship or interaction, the payoff is immediate. Whereas my perspective was always facing the future. Mm-hmm. In other words, you know, like, well, I'll be happy when the business does, you know, 10 million or something, you know, or when we have 400 customers and now the goals are similar, but the payoff comes daily.
Yeah. I was gonna, I mean, before you told that story, that's where I was going with like, you know, how do you go from this idea that like, I'll be happy when to like, I'll be happy now kind of thing. That's a big one. That to me, that would be like a cue for knowing you found a mission when you can, when like, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but for me, it would be like, I can be happy right now. That's a signal that I'm on the right path. One of the signals. Yeah. For me.
Yeah. And I think it's something that a lot of times people, or I'll speak for myself, I would wait for the right conditions and then say, okay, I'm there. Mm-hmm. But you can generate it as well just by sitting in that statement that I own everything that in my life. I'm happy with it. I'm satisfied with it. It's not any different than anything else. You say it enough, you become it.
Yeah.
You know, I think for me, I did have a moment like that when I was in my living room one morning or kitchen and just, you know, look out at the Timpanogos and I was looking around the living room and then it just occurred to me that I live really well. I don't need to live better. I've got goals well beyond where I'm at, and especially in the realm of philanthropy. And I just really like to do a lot, as much as I can, for other people. And but being in that headspace, really changed a lot of things in terms of, okay, now I can create a vision for each company or push a vision with a team that would be beneficial to as many people as possible, and just stop operating from my own ego.
Yeah, because then it really turns into like them, not me. Like you're doing things in the benefit. You're trying to plan things for your company that would be in the best interest of the end receiver, the end user, right?
Yeah.
Versus like, I think if we make this, we're going to go to the top kind of thing.
Yeah. What's in it for me?
Yeah.
Or what that payoff might be, and whether it's, currency or status or whatever, however it shows up. But it's a lot more fun creating a benefit that could ripple to many people, and then going for the ride, than it is trying to convince everyone that you're the top of the pyramid,
right?
And they should be lucky to have you.
Yeah, that's
or some version of that.
Right.
So I just enjoy more, and I think it's way more interactive. I can isolate with a self-serving dream.
Yeah.
But it's way more rewarding and beneficial to a lot more people when it becomes interactive, and people in the moment give you a lot of ideas and creativity about what to do with your business and where it will benefit them and what it means to them. It's a conversation as opposed to a monologue.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of like empathy comes in, because tell us about the nonprofit that you have with Carolyn.
Yeah, so I started volunteering here at a women's shelter and for domestic abuse, and I went through the state training, and that was a real eye-opener, in part because I got exposed to a lot of the statistics. 1 in 3 women report, and depending on where you read, 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 men report in the state of experiencing some kind of domestic abuse. And sometimes that's physical, sometimes it's controlling money, sometimes it's controlling time, telling someone who they can be friends with or not, or cutting them off from their family. It's manipulation of some sort, and sometimes physical abuse. And those are, of course, the reported numbers. The actual numbers are
much higher, because 1 in 3 women in Utah don't report abuse.
Well,
or 1 in 3 women do report. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 in 3 women don't.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And when I started talking to people, and even the people in the training that I was with, it was 20 women and me, some of them started sharing their own personal stories, whether it be kind of crude experiences while dating to physical abuse in a relationship or marriage. And so it just kept me up at night, and I wanted to create a curriculum where we could address this, because I noticed that almost all of the services that I'm aware of are on the victim side of the equation after someone's become a victim.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
And you're dealing with the fallout from it. And on average, a woman, when they leave the abusive relationship, it takes 8 times to stay away. Well, the state government is also very committed to reducing these numbers. The lieutenant governor's cousin was murdered by her domestic partner in August. So they just passed some new legislation, but again, it's all on the service side. It's making sure that police.
Yeah, when you say that, you mean like there's no preventative. Exactly. There's no like beforehand, like how do we stop this?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's what we're about. Yeah. So we created this organization called PQ. We were on PBS recently, and we have a team of it's growing. It's 7 or 8 now. And it's designed to create a curriculum for teens when they're beginning to form intimate relationships, to essentially, we'll do what I was talking about before, raise the level of empowerment in their relationship to themselves, raise the level of satisfaction and contentment themselves. Content people don't meddle with other people. They don't beat other people. And likewise, people who have a real strong relationship with themselves have a pretty high standard for who they're willing to invite into their life. And especially teens with social media and all of that exposure. We've seen it even recently here where people meet. Someone was arrested the other day for selling drugs and committing sex crimes with some young girls in Orem that he met on Instagram.
Yeah, no way, dude. The more I hear about teens and social media, the more it's like, I think the Surgeon General just came out and said like social media is not good for people 13 or below. But I'm just like, dude, don't even get on there, man.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah,
in so many ways.
Yeah, and I'm in the camp. Like, okay, so Inger is on our panel.
Yep.
She's in the camp, and that we should. And I don't disagree with her. I love Inger. She's in the camp that like we should teach how to use it constructively. I'm all for that. When it's time for you to be on there. That's the only thing I would have, you know what I mean? Like when you're 16 or 17.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a tough, it's almost like it got way ahead of itself.
Yeah.
And now we're figuring out, okay,
oops.
Well, yeah, this has gone way too far, and there's some ages that probably aren't appropriate for it at all.
Yeah.
In terms of that exposure, some of those conversations.
Well, it's weird that like when you talk about social media, like, and news in general and stuff, like, I don't know if human beings were ever meant to have that much info at one time.
Good point.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all over my head and above my pay grade. But I'm just, because like, you think about don't read the news, right? Like, and what's that famous video that went around of like Denzel Washington who said like, if you don't read the news, you're uninformed, and if you read it, you're misinformed. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that? I was like, dang.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea, right? I mean, they're selling manipulated emotion.
Yeah.
It's not information.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They don't care what you learn. Right. It's that you come back tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, and that whole video was super insightful because she's like, so what do you do? And he's like, it's a great question. What are the long-term effects of too much information? Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
It certainly informs people's opinions and subsequently their behavior. And a lot of times I think then they end up losing themselves to it. Right. It's as powerful as any relationship they're in.
Right.
And that's not healthy.
Weird. Yeah. It's just a lot of info and a lot of like, and not only like info, but a lot of like, because even I have to go look at it and be like if I catch myself comparing to other podcasts or something, I gotta even catch myself and be like, dude, this guy has a huge podcast. Like I feel like I'm just as good. Like I know I am. And then you look at their history and they were like a TV anchor for 12 years. Like of course their podcast would blow up. You know what I mean? Or like like Joe Rogan. And not only has he been doing it for 12 years, he everything else outside of it, right? Yeah. And it's like right. And so I like, well, of course he would, right? Like, of course that, but you don't see that part. All you see is the success. Exactly. And so even I have to check myself and be like, no. I got to remember like what I'm thinking, the story I'm creating in my head isn't real because the story that actually happened is, 12 years, a bunch of crap, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff. Right?
100%. Yeah. And you could go through
and I'm
through, tech entrepreneurship, whatever. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm running a restaurant.
Right. And I have to sit back and meditate on that to get my head on straight. I'm 29. I couldn't imagine if you were 14 not knowing what the hell's going on.
Yeah. And your principal goal is to belong.
Yeah.
Everything is an invitation to belong, but many of those invitations should be turned down.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Wild. But no, I think Inger's got a great mission. Hers is the Safe Tech Conference, which I think is great, because I do agree with her that tech's not going away. It's too, it's too ingrained in our life, right? So then the alternative would be to like start teaching people how to use it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of
like I said,
reflective voice of what, having sort of almost an omniscient view of their own participation in it.
Yeah.
So they can understand that, oh no, I was 8 hours, that's too much. Or spending this time on this site, or telling my friends, you know, oh no, I can't come out and play.
Yeah.
There's certain fallout from it.
Yeah.
That's definitely not healthy for a lot of people. And
well, I think one of them is not how to, I think one of the big ones is like not how to deal with, like not knowing how to deal with conflict.
Absolutely.
I think that's a big one.
Yeah. And I think in a broader sense, or on a larger scale, you know, we haven't had real kind of nation galvanizing conflict in a generation or two. Yeah. Where like everybody's having the same conversation. Should we go to war? Should we not? Yeah. Or what sacrifice might you have to make, or, you know,
for like a bigger community. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of things that aren't on that scale that come across our lives that look at least that threatening. So it becomes more difficult to actually calibrate what is a conflict. You're really being threatened.
Yeah. Because my thing is, well, and not just that, but like, how do you as a kid, because like we were talking about this the other day, like I got bullied in high school.
You did?
Yeah. But I wasn't like unique though. And this is where like my thought process comes in, is like bullying is one of those things that's just not going to ever go away.
No.
Like, unfortunately.
No.
It's like you, because we can't.
Just exercising power over others.
Yeah. Because when you start making laws that, anyway, so you face the reality that bullying probably not ever going to go away. And so how do we teach our kids resilience then?
Right.
You know what I mean? And like how to like, okay, this for whatever reason, this person was mean to me today. You know what I mean? And so what am I going to do about that? Like, and we're just losing this, because then you get bullied at school, and then you go on Instagram and everybody's using a filter, and then you go home and your parents try to be like the super nice, and then they close the door and you hear them fighting because they're not fighting in front of you, right? And no one knows how to deal with these emotions that should be out in front, but we're closing doors to do it, right? Like one of the things my wife and I do with our children is like, if we have disagreements, like we'll do it in front of them. Because not because like, and obviously there's some that, right? Like I don't want to, like there's some conversations parents have behind closed doors, but for the most part, like we'll do it in front of our kids because we want to show them like how to like, you know, this is what, mom and dad aren't perfect. We fight. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes, you know, whatever, right? Like you can actually get in an argument and then disagree, but still move forward and make a decision. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big difference if you're witnessing that and there's the question of you being partners and teammates is never in doubt. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're going to come out on the other end resolved. Right. That's safe.
Yeah. And you show people that, right? Like there's a lot of trust there. Yeah. But, you know, when you get on social media, you don't see any of that.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just like, we made a decision. You're like, you didn't see all the arguing and not arguing, but like the constructive conflict that goes behind making a decision.
Yeah. It is a very skewed view for sure when you're looking at just results.
I just seen so much on social media that I'm like, it's just crazy. Like, because I'm that age where like Facebook, like I remember a time without social media, barely. You know what I mean? But like,
I grew up with none of it.
Yeah. So like, I'm 29. Facebook came out in whatever year that was and didn't hit my side of, didn't hit the Midwest because we're like in a time zone. You know, we go back in time, but anyway, it's like, I think 08 was, or 07 or something was when I first heard of Facebook.
Yeah, you were still playing with friends.
Yeah, exactly. We were just going outside,
Yeah. No, it really hit me one day walking through New York City, walking with a friend of mine, run into someone she knew. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Oh, good. Hey, friend me on Facebook. And then we kept walking.
Yeah.
And I thought,
and now it's
where did The friendship was right there.
Yeah. You guys should have like carried away. Yeah. Gotten a drink or something. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. But I mean, that's incredible, because then you have more in there, about just getting your passion and like really trying to figure out how to help people. So that's the main point of PQ.
Yeah. It's really, it's, so I met 4 women in 1 week who said, if I'd had a curriculum like this, I would have married someone different.
Oh, damn. Jeez. It's crazy.
So that's the kind of impact we're looking to have, is to really not displace everything that they have, but really augment it and have them ask themselves core questions like, what is a relationship? What is commitment? When does it occur? In the moment or before? Had you decided before?
Right.
What are relationships for you? So we have a team of teens as well. They're going to be doing some interviews on some of the high school and college campuses.
Cool.
We're gathering some data. We're creating a curriculum where we can go anywhere from juvenile justice system to schools to group homes, and just help people enhance and elevate their relationships, and solidly make choices about which ones they want to engage in, or where's the boundary being crossed, not going to go.
Yeah.
And I think the outcome will be fewer incidents of domestic.
Yeah. Well, you know who you're talking. Man, we could talk forever about that. And by the way, sorry, I'm laughing. I told you I was in therapy. That my laugh is a trauma response. The vulnerable moment, if you want to know that. But,
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if like you say something crazy and I laugh, no, not always. Yeah, that's a good point. But sometimes like I get in trouble for it at work. Like when there was a serious conversation and I just laugh. Like, what do you do?
Nerves?
No. It's just like, yeah. Why wouldn't It's just like It's like when you go through your whole life expecting shit to hit the fan. When it does hit the fan, it's like, of course it would. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's crazy. But man, I'm really excited for tacos. We didn't get to hit everything. We'll have another interview soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, no worries. Okay.
But I appreciate you coming. Before I let you go though, Bank Hunter, PQ, tell us everywhere we can find you, get involved, all that good stuff.
Yeah, bankhunter.com, do-it-yourself auto finance, pq.org. And the other site isn't up yet for the clothing company, but that's going to be...
It's coming. We'll do another interview on it, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Howard. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it too.